smoke goes in, comes right out the top and the back side. Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Thermaltake. This is their Series 300 TG ARGB mid-tower PC case. I did receive this sample directly from Thermaltake, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. This case does come in two colors. There's a black version and a white version, otherwise known as Snow. You'll see this is compatible with all of your major motherboard RGB software for the two included 140mm ARGB fans. On the side of the box, you will learn about the specs of this case, what's included, its dimensions, all of that good stuff. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have your user guide and manual, followed by all of our hardware. So we got some cable ties. We have our fan splitter cable here, two backup standoffs. We have your buzzer alarm right here if you want to use that and connect it to your motherboard speaker. And then we have a nice good old bag of screws. Lastly, you'll see the case. Let's look at this in more detail. Looking at the case, let's start from the top. You'll see we have our I/O here, power button, indicator lights, USB Type-C, two USB Type-A ports, mic jack, headphone jack, and a reset button. We do have a removable magnetic dust filter and screen. Just snaps in place and you can grab it right there to remove. I like that design, and you'll see we have plenty of mounting options here for our AIO. Now we'll look at the very front. You'll see our front panel here has metal construction with our two 140mm ARGB fans peeking through. Thermaltake's logo and branding down at the bottom. There is a handle right here to remove this front panel, so just gently pull that. We got the panel removed, and I wanted to show you on the inside there's another screen and filter we can remove to clean as needed. And here's a look at the front with the fans already installed. There's a little bit of room down here at the bottom, so I believe if you had three 120 fans, you'd be able to fit those, but just two of your 140mm fans. Now looking at the bottom, you'll see our 4 feet here with a nice height clearance to them to give us some airflow down at the bottom. We also have a removable filter and screen right here to easily clean as needed, and that just slides right back in. You also have access if you want to install any fans. You know, you can configure things from this side of the case too. And then our power supply, fan venting right there. You'll see made in China down at the bottom. There's a look at the handle again from the front panel. Now look at the back side, very standard here. Exhaust fan, motherboard I/O slot, all of our expansion slots, additional venting, and our power supply down at the bottom. Here's a look at the tempered glass side here. You'll notice down at the bottom we have some venting on this side. You'll see our solid metal cover on the other side, and then you get a feel for the thickness of the front panel cover from that side profile. With the tempered glass removed, you'll see on the inside here, we actually have a lot of space. Also reveals our third and final fan. This one is not ARGB though, so keep that in mind. But we do get three 140mm fans, which is great. PCIe down here. Got some venting at the bottom. Our grommets, the backside of our two 140 ARGB fans on the front panel. So you can get a feel for what you have to work with inside. Here's a look at the backside. You'll see solid metal panel up at the top. We kind of have this crimp down here in the metal. It's all still one piece with some venting in the bottom right-hand corner. If you're looking at it, that's going to be again where your power supply is going to be. This has 3 screws on the back that then you can gently pop out to slide off. And again, little confusing if you're not paying attention. I thought at first it would just be this portion. It's actually the whole back panel. So in the inside, we have our cable management channel going down the front with Thermaltake cable ties already installed for us. Everything's nice, neat, and tidy right here. USB Type-C and 3.0, all of our connection options, everything very easy to find, ready, and available for us as we get to our build. Motherboard's going to go here. You'll see the backside there. Additional hard drive and SSD storage. Down at the bottom, you get a feel for all the room we have to work with for our power supply and cables. We have a couple options here too to route cables up and through to the front if we want. Side access here, right? And then obviously our main grommets there with this channel in the middle. Now let's go ahead and get our PC built. All right, check it out. We got our PC built, powered on, everything's working great. Let's look at this build up close. All right, looking at the build from the front up close, you'll notice kind of the centerpiece of this build is going to be our Thermaltake. This is their TH240 V2 Ultra ARGB sync with built-in display. Currently it's displaying the liquid temp, which is awesome. 2 ARGB fans with that paired really nicely and match the 2 ARGB fans that are included with this case. They're nice and bright. This build has the AMD 7700X under there, some Lexar DDR5. We have our RTX 3080 FE, Sabrent drive, and we have a Crucial T700. That's a Gen 5 NVMe SSD, blazing fast. 12,000 megabytes for our read speeds. Beautiful MSI Tomahawk motherboard. There's our exhaust fan in the back. That's included. Again, that one's not RGB. I really wish it was. They definitely missed that there. That should totally be one to match the front. Down at the bottom here, I didn't showcase this earlier, but you can actually remove the shroud right here if you have like a really nice power supply you want to display, a screen, things like that. And on this side, speaking of screen, you can get an additional screen attachment if you want to install that right there for this case. Thermaltake does make one. So that's pretty neat. You can add a display right there in your case. Let's look at that front panel now. You'll see our indicator lights up at the top right there. And then let's look at those front fans with their RGB. Got the rainbow mode on so you can see all the different colors. Pretty cool fans there. I like how everything looks. Backside view. Here's a rundown of the very back of the case with the motherboard, the fan, and our GPU installed. Power supply down at the bottom. And now we can play judge by cable management skills. We just routed everything down the center channel here. So it comes over from the front panel, couple up from the top, CPU power there, down and in. I mean, there's a lot of space. A lot of space to work with here. Plenty of room on the back for cable management. And now with the lights off, let's look at the build really quick. Just seeing it glow. Kind of contrast and completely different from the Cooler Master build behind it with the 240 millimeter ARGB fans in the front. We're rocking the 140s on this build. And then we actually have the glow from the top fans kind of helping that back exhaust fan. That's the one missing piece of this build in my opinion. But they will glow and illuminate the bottom portion here. Same with the 140s on the back side. But that front panel, definitely going to be probably the coolest part of the build. How it shines through the grate. Pretty cool. Now let's suit this thing up and see how the thermals perform. First things first, all the panels are on and in place, and the PC is just at an idle so we can monitor both the CPU and GPU temps here. We're showing that the CPU is right around that 40 degrees Celsius standpoint. And you'll see our GPU is right at around that 30 degree Celsius at an idle. Now let's go ahead, let's max everything out and see how warm they get. So it took us about 5 minutes to get everything maxed out. Our CPU and GPU are both being 100% utilized. The AMD CPU by default is engineered to go up to 95 degrees Celsius and stay there. So that's normal here. If you're gonna stress your CPU out, it will cap itself at that 95 degrees Celsius. So while we have it running at that, you'll still see we're getting 4.7 gigahertz basically for our CPU speeds, which is fantastic because that's still above the base clock of 4.5. And again, we're throttling this thing at 100%, right? So we're maxing that CPU out. And in regards to our GPU, we're hovering right around that 72 degrees Celsius mark at a full load. So we got some nice warm air exhausting out this case as you would expect, but so far so good. All right, now it's time for my favorite test. We're gonna use our smoke machine here so I can show you guys some of the airflow with this case. We'll put a little bit of smoke here in the front and you'll see that those fans will be able to pull that air right in and through as you'd expect. You want that nice cool air coming in, and you'll see a lot of that smoke exhaust out the top and the back side right here. So just pay attention as we position the machine. We'll put some of that smoke right to the front. Doesn't matter if it's top or bottom. You'll see how it's pulling that smoke in. That air hits across that front panel, and then it's just right in there, and I'm seeing it already come up and out right here. But we're gonna have, you know, quite a bit of fun now. We're really gonna smoke this thing, and you'll see that air moving it all around on the inside and exhausting it right back out. You'll see that it passes through a lot in the back. We're just moving a lot of air with those two 140s on the front, the 140 on the back, and the two 120s up top with how we have it configured. But here we go. Smoke goes in. Love doing that and seeing it. Comes right out the top and the back side. So let me share with you my final thoughts after using our Thermaltake Series 300 case. I really like the size of this case. The looks, that's just gonna be your own personal preference. I personally really like how this case looks. I think the focal piece and center point is gonna be that front panel with those 240 millimeter ARGB fans. That really just sets the tone for this build. I'm pleased with the quality overall. There's just a lot of customization options, and I really like on the front that we have the ability to pop off some additional panels if we want to showcase our power supply, or if we want to add one of those integrated screens. That's probably my biggest drawback with this case, is it doesn't come with the screen. I think that should definitely be a must-have with this. I really want to have that screen. I think that's a really cool feature. That's probably one of the reasons why you're looking at this case. I guess the good news is if you don't get the screen right now, you have the option to upgrade to that screen in the future, maybe when your budget settles, that sort of thing. Other than that, I think the biggest miss with this case is not giving us a third ARGB fan. And at that point, they should definitely have some sort of integrated fan hub and controller in the back. I'd like to see that added to this case in the future, that additional ARGB fan for the back. I mean, they're already giving us the fan anyways. Why not make it ARGB to match the front? They're all gonna be 140. That would just be nice, clean, neat, and it just makes sense to me. And I wanna see that fan hub on the back so we can manage everything right there, and then maybe we could configure our reset switch to then be able to control the hub. So that's what I want to see with this case in the future, but I'm happy with the performance. I think it looks great, but again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.